Hi, tonight I am making a slow cooker Tuscan Tortellini Vegetable Soup featuring our Tuscan style herb chicken. This is a partnership with Half Baked Harvest. We're going to use the quick cooker, but tonight we're actually using the slow cooker feature on it, which I've not ever shown you before. So there is a separate lid available when you want to use the quick cooker as a slow cooker. So I'm going to turn the dial until slow cooker shows up, and I'm going to hit start. We are going to actually, before I do that, I'm going to reduce the time to 3 hours and then hit start. The slow cooker feature on this quick cooker cooks at the equivalent of high on a typical crock pot, okay? So 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours is all that you're going to need for this recipe. So we're going to start first with some white wine. If you don't want to do that, you can just use broth, so half a cup. And then I'm going to add a full package of the Tuscan style herb chicken. And this is so delicious. You're going to love this. And with TasteBuds, you get a sample of it so you can try it out. But oh my gosh, just opening the package, it is full of flavorful herbs. It's savory smelling. It's really, really nice. So you're going to blend it up. And one of the things that people love about slow cookers is it's kind of mix it and forget it kind of thing. So I've got the wine and the seasoning mixed up. To this I'm going to add 6 cups of vegetable broth. I know it looks dark, but it's veggie broth. I'm just going to stir that all in. I like to make veggie broth with veggie scraps. So when I'm peeling things like potatoes, onions, carrots, all the stuff you see here, it all goes into a veggie scrap bag. When it's full, it's a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. When it's full, I put it in a pot with some water and let it simmer for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Then I strain it and I have veggie broth. So I freeze it in 2-cup increments. Here I've got 6 carrots, 4 stalks of celery, and a big onion. So chop it up. You can use your food chopper or a knife. Throw that in. Lots of veggies in this soup, so you'll love that. We're gonna add 2 boneless chicken thighs. Now, I'm not gonna trim the fat off of it because it gives an extra flavor to soups when you have a little bit of that chicken fat on there, so I'll leave it, but if that bothers you, you can take it off. And then we need 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. So I'm gonna add that in, and I'll show you what to do with that extra tomato paste. Just gonna scrape that in. And then we'll add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If you want to, you could probably skip that. I'm guessing it's just gonna make it have a nice feel. And then I'll add a little bit of crushed red pepper. Skip this if you don't want anything spicy. I'm just gonna add a pinch. So maybe 2 pinches. There we go. Okay, and that's everything that's going to go in the pot. So we're just gonna give it a stir. Don't worry if your tomato paste isn't completely mixed in. As it heats up, it'll start to melt and it'll come together nicely. Okay, now let me give you a couple of money-saving tips. So when you've got a little bit of a recipe that calls for just a little bit of tomato paste, just take a Ziploc bag. I use quart-sized ones. I love it for this. And I'm going to grab a little measuring cup. I like to do that to prop it up. So just turn the cuff on your Ziploc bag, and that way it will stand up. And then I'll just take the rest of that tomato paste, and when I have another recipe that calls for it, I will have it ready to use, okay? So when you freeze it, what I like to do is flatten it out, because sometimes you have a recipe, you only need a tablespoon or 2. If it's a big blob, it's gonna be hard to do that. So zip it most of the way through and then flatten it, fill up your corners, make it kind of an even thickness, kind of flat, and then just make sure all your air is pushed out and it's zipped. When this is frozen solid, you can actually break it right in the bag, open it up, and then just pull out the piece that you like, so you won't have any waste, especially with a recipe like this that only calls for part of it. I'm gonna give you one more tip. When cooking with white wine, whether it's Chardonnay, Pinot, any of those white wines, I'm not a white wine drinker, but I do like to use it for cooking. So my tip for you is to buy the little bottles And that way you won't have waste if it's not something you enjoy drinking. I'm more of a red wine girl. So these have, I think it's about 3/4 of a cup. I have another recipe later this week that will use the rest of it, and then I won't have a whole wasted bottle. So they are a little bit pricier, but it means I won't have to buy 3 bottles and dump half of it in the meantime. All right, this is gonna go for a little bit, and then we'll finish it all up together.